Welcome, Ed Media class, to the fourth quarter with Mr. Wade. Today, I'm going to be mostly going over our final project for the year, which, as you can see here, is the commercial. You might have already seen this on Google Classroom. Today, I'm just going to be going through the assignment and also giving you a bit more of a detailed look at some of the units that are coming in the next month. So let's get it started. So this finale project will be kind of a culmination of all the skills and resources that you've learned and acquired over the course of our fine time together in Ed Media. And this will culminate individually or in group form. You are going to be creating an advertisement for the AUS yearbook of 30 to 60 seconds in length. Now, as you might have seen already, this can be filmed with your besties from other classes, if you're so inclined. However, it should nonetheless have a focus on the yearbook. Now, this focus can manifest itself in a variety of different forms. You do have the option of picking another way of supporting and sharing and encouraging the promotion of the yearbook, other than the three listed here, but I do want you to run them by me just in case it's kind of inappropriate. I need to give you approval. So you can focus on purchasing the yearbook, submitting photos, or joining the yearbook staff. Really, in future years, I imagine it'll be first and third and less of second, but we'll do all three of these. Ideally, your video will be so good and so timeless that we will be able to use it to advertise the yearbook in the future years. And, you know, this is something that kind of came up with the interview project, that really, like, the idea of all of our video projects is to show them to an audience, ideally like as wide as possible. So certainly that is a big part of it. If you'd like to work with a group, there are certainly options. The first thing to keep in mind is the length of your project. Basically, you need to increase the size of your project to reflect the size of your group. Or you have the option of creating a campaign, kind of like the Panda Cheese campaign, where you saw variations of the same idea in different locations. So you can make a longer ad, 30 seconds per person, or you can make several short ads that are variations of the same idea. For example, you could do like a male and female version if you're working with a partner, similar to this creepy adult McDonald's ad from Japan, or Panda Cheese, the greatest ad campaign of all time. Another approach that you could think of as it relates to this is, like, in the event that one of you really fancies yourself to be a strong writer or director or actor, you could split up the roles and execute the same roles with 3 different films if you're so inclined. Okay, so this is what we're going to be working on this week, and it is basically kind of a survey of common advertising appeals and the modes of persuasion. So this is this week's work. The assignments include an Ed puzzle, a Google Doc chart that you're going to fill out reflecting Aristotle's modes of persuasions, and also a Google form quiz that is pretty easy. But you can find the links here to these things as well. So this is week 1. I'll kind of drop into this more at the end of the presentation. Here's the rubric: flawless image and sound quality with no distracting flaws that distract the attention of the audience. The ad is 30 seconds in length. Here is the most important part. Your advertisement successfully advertises the yearbook with a clear advertising technique and can be published and republished to the AUS community and the internet. So it's not just AUS, it is the internet. And we also want something that is successfully employing an advertising technique as the ones listed here. Okay, so Fortunately, there are a lot of commercials that have been made over the history of the world, so there's a lot of inspiration that you can draw from existing commercials. But yeah, this is definitely like the most important part of it. I would say like the technical aspects of it are also addressed by the idea that this could be published to a wide audience, because if it can't be published to a wide audience, it's likely because there's some technical problem or some sort of content problem. So this really kind of sums things up. All right, so here's the timeline. This week we're going to be looking at persuasion and advertising. The assignments that I posted today are going to be due April 15th, Thursday. All of our assignments moving out are going to be due Thursday. Week 2, we're going to be working on screenwriting and screenplay format. So you want to be thinking about the idea that you're going to be doing as soon as possible, because you have 2 weeks to write it. Really, the scripts won't be that long given that they're 30 seconds, but you still need to think of an idea, so you should be started on that. Screenplay format is pretty straightforward. It's more the idea that we'll be having to work on more than anything. And that is due April 22nd. Week 3, I haven't addressed this here, but we're going to be doing a lesson on editing. I'll be teaching you about editing. And then week 4, you will be doing editing in your video. So we have beginning filming, editing, and revision. This will be modes of persuasion, screenplay format, editing, and these last 3 weeks you'll be making the movie. I think for seniors in the house, we are inclined to be kind of coming to an end of the year around mid-May. I think this might be it. Of course, we'll meet again in the final, but it's not yet clear to me if we're going to be meeting for a regular class again. Okay, so that is, by the way, be said. Here are some important points. You can work ahead of schedule. However, you need to receive feedback on the script before you go ahead and start filming. So really, this is something that you could do in a day if you're feeling motivated and your friends are already hanging out with you. You do not have to create this project in Premiere Pro. So this is another important thing to note. For the non-seniors in the house, we will be continuing to do some work, but it's not going to really be focused on production as much as we'll be offering commentaries on film. So this is an important point. If you would like to end your membership to the Adobe Creative Cloud, you can do so now. You will need to have some sort of video editing platform, but you likely already have one built into your computer, or there are lots of free options online as well. So remember that. The goal of this project is to create a publishable advertisement for the school. Therefore, do not film anything or anyone that cannot be shared. Groups can be composed of students from different classes. However, only work with a partner/group if A, you've all been vaccinated, and B, you are already in that friend's existing pandemic bubble. So, as always, I want you to be safe. There's no need to take upon unnecessary risk for your health over any class, but please be careful out there. Okay, so here are some other things, some resources that you can use. They show successful ad campaigns as well as kind of a step-by-step process to make a good commercial. All of these are good resources that I encourage you to take a look at. All right, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to be looking at what we're working on this week. This is the modes of persuasion, or how to win any argument. This is basically Aristotle's formula for successful rhetoric that can be broken down into 3 categories. Pathos is basically evoking emotion from the audience. Logos is using logic. to argue a point, usually through scientific data or facts. Lastly is ethos, in which we basically put an emphasis on the credibility of the speaker. Oftentimes this manifests itself in some form of authority. For instance, a doctor wearing a doctor's outfit saying that I'm a doctor, blah, blah, blah. So for this assignment, you're going to be filling out this chart that you can find here, hopefully. And I've just linked in a lot of pretty interesting commercials, and you want to explain why each ad demonstrates the following things. And keep in mind, not every ad is going to have ethos, pathos logos. Most of them, well, all of them will have one. Some of them will have two. I'm not sure if any of these have three. So it'll probably be one or two, possibly three. But you also want to fill in the stylistic devices here too. Like, what exactly is the filmmaker doing to sell the product? Like, what is the idea? What is the technique? That's what I mean by stylistic devices. Actually, I'm going to write that in here because I think that's important. Okay. All right, so these are modes of persuasion. At the end of this, I've created a cute little Google Forms quiz that you're basically going to be saying, is this ethos, pathos, or logos? And a lot of that is corresponding to the examples that I've kind of spelled out here. Among these, remember that ethos is a testimonial type. Yeah, so there's that. You've also seen this, which is an Edpuzzle about the 20 or 23 common appeals in advertising or advertising techniques. And there is a stunning Edpuzzle that has been created. And I've also included a link to where you can find that here. This is the blog that was used as the basis for that pretty cool video. Yeah, so for this week, you are beginning to plan and think about the commercial that you'll be making, and you're also going to be learning about Aristotle's modes of persuasion and these 23 advertising appeal that are by and large emotional or logical. You're filling out this chart, you're doing this Google form thing, and you're doing this Edpuzzle. And yeah, that's about it. Next week, we'll be looking at screenplay format and how to go about writing a screenplay. And that's it for today. I miss you guys. I hope you had a happy spring break. Stay safe out there. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.